Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 19th episode of the Morning Prep Nugget podcast. I am Ebomesi Billy. You can call me Good. And on this episode, we'll be discussing about this what is life. I'll start from my right hand, Mr. Edeme Nelson. And then we have Miss Ena and Miss Patricia. So, Miss Patricia or Mrs. Patricia, beg your pardon. Please, what is the meaning of life, or what does life mean to you?
Good morning, Miss Mercy. Welcome, dear listeners. Thank you very much for having me here on the 19th episode. Personally, I would say that life is a misery. Life is something that is mysterious.
Okay.
But for the sake of our viewers or our listeners, life is anything that has a system capable of performing the functions of breathing, eating, excreting, moving, growing, reproducing, and responding to external stimuli. In other words, that's adapting to your environment as well as dying. We must
Wow.
bring the path of death to life because anything that has life would sometime get to a point of extinction
Extinction.
and then die.
Exactly.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much, Mrs. Patricia. Mr. Nelson, can we hear your view?
Mhm. Good evening, viewers and listeners. My name is Nelson, and thank you for having me on this show. So, there's this question about life whereby
Okay.
people are trying to read meaning to it. We have um, we have read books, we have heard about different speculation, but we have to give this impersonal observation towards this um,
What's the definition
towards
of
yes
life?
towards the definition of life because I think that life is a complex affair. It's very, very complex in which um, we are trying to give meaning to it. Actually, life has no meaning. Actually, yes,
Life has no
life
meaning.
has no meaning
All right, so
because
let's. Okay.
okay, life has no meaning because we are trying to, as humans, as people that are trying to do research, trying to find out. We are just basing our own personal observation based on our experience. That's how I would describe life. But life is more than that.
Okay, so Miss Anna, let's get your view of what life is all about.
Good day, listeners. Thank you, Miss Eva, for having me on your show. So, I think life is simple. It's something that has meaning. It is multifaceted. It has different parts, but it has to have meaning for it to be life, for it to be alive. So, I think life, no matter the aspects you want to look at it from, be it from the spiritual aspect, be it from the biological phenomenon of things growing and then dying at the end of the day. It's just something that has to have meaning.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna. Mr. Nelson, when you were explaining or when you were giving your view of life, you said life has no meaning. And then Mrs. Patricia said life has a meaning. Even if there is death in life, it still has meaning. And Miss Anna also said the same thing. So, how come you are saying life has no meaning?
And when we say life has meaning, we're supposed to try to look at the problem whereby if something has meaning, it means that there's a formula towards it, there's a conclusion towards it, there's an end point whereby you have seen the end. This is the meaning. But when you see that life is a continuous process, It's
Okay.
an infinite movement. It means that you cannot arrive at a conclusion. There's still a lot to uncover, there's still a lot to discover. That means you cannot give it in, you cannot give it that this is the meaning, because you have not come to the end. You are still
But I
uncovering.
thought the end of it is death, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you thought the end of it. So what happens after death?
It is not just death that is the end of life. Yes, because it depends on the aspect you're looking at it from. When you're looking at it from the biological aspect, yes, the end of life is death. But there are so many other aspects of looking at life. You can see it as a journey. You can see it as a collective endeavor. So I don't think it has an end, because as Christians, I'm a Christian anyway. As Christians, we're even taught in church that there is life after death. I don't know if you understand. So it's a transition. It's a transition. It's not that it has ended.
No, even if it's a transition, I feel since you're on earth, that is life now. So when you die, the journey has ended. Then you want to start another journey after your death. That's my own opinion, anyways. But you saying
Wait.
okay,
Let me come in here. Let me come in
all
here.
right,
I think we are missing the point. I
okay,
think we are missing the point. We're having this experience.
mm-hmm,
Eh? That is human experience. Life continues. Is the human that dies, the individual.
okay,
Life is still uncovering.
okay,
So you are here, we are here, we are experiencing life for a short period, that each individual can have a short period of this experience. But what is continuing is the life itself, that we are part of this process. You understand? So if I die now, it doesn't mean that life has, it means that my experience has
your
ended.
experience has
Yes,
Your
ended.
experience has come to an end,
and end.
but
But
not that the end product of life is death. That is where I'm concerned.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, you are right. But the individual, that is the, the experience, the experiencer is experiencing life,
Life.
then ends, but
Okay.
the life continues.
All right, wonderful opinion.
Okay. Yeah, if you listen to when I started, I said life is a misery. Okay. I started by saying that life is a misery. A misery is something that you really cannot tell the beginning or the ending. But as humans, you see, life has different aspects, like Miss Ena and Mr. Nelson has rightly said. But when humans die, of course, life continues. But for that particular organism, whether human, animal, or plant, the journey of that such an organism tends to come to an end. But while the person was on that journey, there were some notable things, experiences, impacts, either negative or positive, which this person has impacted, call it posterity. For a singular reason, a person's generation, the offsprings that follow an individual, could be blessed, or they could enjoy prosperity, live a happy life thereafter, just because of their actions or inactions when the person was alive or here on earth. But in the same vein, if the person had very negative impact, in some cases you also see the effect even
Exactly.
after the person has died. But when I talked about that, that's concerning a particular organism, either a human being or an animal or a plant, anything that has the characteristics of living.
Any living thing
Exactly.
definitely die. Even
Exactly.
non-living thing, they actually
Thank you.
die. Anyways. All right. So now that Mrs. Patricia has taken us to another dimension of death, let's talk about the two. Okay, so I saw something online that there's a conflict between life and death. Now, this conflict will make us as humans to appreciate and value.
Some cases you also see the effect even
Exactly.
after the person has died. But when I talked about death, that's concerning a particular organism, either a human being or an animal or a plant, anything that has the characteristics of living.
Any living thing
Exactly.
definitely die. Even
Exactly.
non-living thing, they actually
Thank you.
die. Anyways. All right. So now that Mrs. Patricia has taken us to another dimension of death, let's talk about the two. Okay, so I saw something online that there's a conflict between life and death. Now, this conflict will make us as humans to appreciate and value our time here on earth. Knowing that life is short, it will now push us to, find meaning and purpose in life. So, what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Nelson?
Okay, I understand that the human being is a rational and a conceptual being, and he needs the human being needs something to, like a guide, towards in search of what is taking place. So if we put it in this direction, that for from we have the perspective of the religious perspective, has brought a certain meaning, has given the human beings, most human beings, a certain meaning of life, that there is most of these religious theories have said that there is life,
After death.
there's another life after
After
death.
death. Okay.
There's another life after death. Then we have the scientific perspective, we have historical perspective,
Perspective.
and we have the realistic perspective, which I hold on to, whereby if we want to talk about life based on our experience, based of on our the actual experience we have had, you see that it's just like a recycling process. Generations after the generations, you die and you are gone, your experience ends. But from the religious perspective, which is a belief, I know I'm going against some of my colleagues.
Miss Henna, can you hear
Yes,
him? Mrs.
which is a
Pat.
belief in which it aligns with the human will, because our will, we want to continue existing for as long as we can. So this realistic perspective, whereby when you die you are gone, does
Mm.
not align with what the human will. So the human tends to cling to that what religious what assumption,
Perspective,
yes,
believe.
that concept that when you die, yes, life after now, yes. So it aligns with it gives the human consolation of how life, or what life is all about. Okay, so if, for example, now we are ignorant,
Okay.
trying to find meaning to what life is all about. So if you ask me that what is life,
Mm.
I have to respond that our life has been what, we are born, we go to school,
Like a
we get
circle.
job, yes, get married, we
Mm-hmm.
quarrel, we fight, we love our, do you understand, we
Yeah.
mate.
Mm.
That has been our life from millennia to millennia. There's no belief. That's what
Mm.
we have experienced. But the experience of when I die, we go to some place of no pain, no
Mm.
sorrow. So we have not yet experienced that affair. So therefore we use this our own personal experience to to describe what life is all about.
Okay, amazing, amazing opinion. Mrs. Patricia, you want to say something about life and death?
Yeah. In my opinion about life and death, you necessarily don't have to get to extinction or die to actually experience death. You don't have to, because let's look at it holistically. It's possible for someone to actually be alive, living in the natural sense, but the person is actually dead. There is a difference between living life and merely existing. So, talking about life after death, that's even another dimension of it. Because it's not everybody that you actually see on a daily basis roaming in the street that is living life. Some of them may look good, well dressed, and all happy, but deep down they are dead. They are merely existing. Are you actually living life in the moment? Like, are you, how do you impact you step out, and you do you have the consciousness of impacting, living a bit of yourself in others? Or you're just, you wake up, you go out, look for daily bread, what to eat, by all means, whatever means you can use to survive, and that's it. There are people that are actually living corpses. Let's look into that. It's not just waiting to die, because some people have died like 101 times. They are just looking for something, like, in fact, some persons pray that as they go out, oh, if something could just happen so they can end the life, perhaps because they are not bold enough to actually take their life due to what the society will say, or what the consequences, the pain, the fear of death. And so you don't have to really die to talk about death. Some people are dead, but they are existing.
All right,
Thank
amazing
you.
opinion. So you don't have to like die a real death before we can say that okay, that person is dead, according to Mrs. Patricia. So Miss Ena, don't say anything about the clash between life and death.
Um, in my own opinion, even though we, even though, um, like my colleague here said, we have different perspective, the realistic perspective and the religious perspective. You have to understand that the one singular thing that ties everything together is death. So there's always a connection, because anything that is living must die. Any good thing must come to an end. So that is it with life also.
All right. Amazing, amazing opinion. Okay, so they said there's a clash between life and death, and this gives urgency to our existence. Knowing our time is limited pushes us to seek purpose and live fully. It is this very tension that makes life meaningful. Now, I want us to digress a bit and let's talk about contentment. Because if you are living in this our world today and our economy today, um things are really hard, and then you have to use your salary, which is not even enough for you to do some things. You see that some young people, they are not contented with what they have. They'll go and do other things. They can steal, like the one that we have now that is trending, yahoo yahoo. They can do yahoo yahoo. So what's your view about life and contentment? Because if you are living, you have to be contented, but there are some people that they are living but they are not really contented with what they have and with life itself.
Um, I think not that those people they are not contented, but I think those people they are greedy. Yes, because contentment comes from satisfaction. It comes from when you are at peace with yourself, with your current state, with what you have achieved. And the truth is, most people have not gotten to that stage. Even the richest men in the world, even though they have what makes them comfortable, they still want more. So I think it goes beyond that those people lack contentment. I think they are just greedy. Because for you to be content is that you are satisfied with your growth, with where you are at your current state. That doesn't mean that because you are contented, you cannot um, want more. You cannot strive to be better. But for that particular state you are in, you you are satisfied with your goal.
Well, I think that I have an issue with that.
The fact that Cain already knew that Abel was the preferred. Do you understand? Because he purposely brought a rotten fruit. The fruit, what he brought was not pleasant to the eyes. That was what happened.
Okay,
Can't read your
okay,
Bible.
okay.
That was what happened.
Romans, I think if you read Romans or Hebrews, you get the full story.
Okay.
You read about faith, you get the full story of it.
Okay, so
God
let me
presents fruit. I think it was his heart. God was looking at his heart.
No, what he
Because
brought,
Hebrew
what he
or
brought,
Romans, you see the full
what he
story.
brought,
It's not really,
what he brought
rotten
was
fruit.
not pleasing. Aside from his
It was
mindset,
not
his
pleasing,
mindset was
though.
already biased anyway because he felt that God likes his brother more than him. You understand? And then after presenting
So
that,
let me
let's
just
not
get to
dwell
where
on
I'm
this because of
now.
time.
When you talk
How
about
can you-
contentment,
okay.
contentment to me, what really is contentment shouldn't be possessions. It shouldn't be that I already have a master's degree from Harvard or Cambridge, or that I'm married
okay.
at this age, or I'm doing well financially or successful at this age.
I think
that's
you
how many
you cannot determine what is
So-
contentment to people because
Okay.
everybody has their definition of what contentment is to them and what they feel. Like I said, that
Contentment is
contentment is
satisfaction.
satisfaction,
Yes.
derivation of
You
joy.
could just be
Everybody
satisfied
has
with life
what
without necessarily having some of these
I
material
only use
possessions.
those the examples I use. I only use those things, those scenarios as an example. Everybody has different things that give them satisfaction. There are some people, the fact that oh my children are doing well, that is enough satisfaction for them. That is enough. Like they are contented that their children, oh they don't
Are doing
big,
well.
they are doing well, they know they border
What if you see
house.
somebody else's child that is
Yes.
doing better than the child.
Okay.
Will she be contented?
Okay.
Do you think she'll be contented with that? Okay, their level of excellence now.
Yes, there will always be comparison. But that doesn't mean that that person will not be at that particular time that she's not contented. And even at that point, that person cannot even do anything about his child meeting up to that other person.
Achievements or possessions. Contentment should just be that you woke up, you have life. Thank God, you are happy. When your mates, when your neighbor is succeeding, you are happy with them.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
We're talking
because of
about. We're
things
talking
you
about.
have.
We're talking about life and
We're talking about
contentment.
contentment, Abi.
Okay.
Contentment is a kind of mind state.
Not temporal.
Mind state, right? Contentment
Are you
is
sure it is not temporal?
Uncontentment is uncontentment. Even your brother, that state of love is love. Does not mean that we're not talking about uncontentment. It's like it's our consciousness inbuilt. It's inbuilt enough. So you are seeing it that I want to buy this thing, I want to achieve this thing. You get there, you see that you are not contented. There's another Africa. You are seeing it.
There's more.
That's
You are seeing
natural
it.
now.
So how do we suppress this?
Exactly.
That's
what I want to even
how do we
ask.
suppress it?
So how do we
recognize
handle it
that?
now? Because it is a big issue.
This
in
at this moment I'm
society.
greedy. How do I suppress it? That's what we need to talk about. You
I think
understand?
she has said part
Because
of it being spiritual, right?
spirituality.
No, when you love people genuinely, when you love life.
No,
you
even
love
if
your
you love
neighbor.
life genuinely, like if you love people genuinely, sorry,
It's there.
that thing is
It's still there.
But how do you suppress it?
How do you
For me,
suppress
I
it?
think
How do you?
at times it's
That's
by
why I talk about
praying.
having
It's
a-
not
a
like I'm trying to be
supernatural
religious
being.
though, but praying. At times you just pray and then you remind yourself and
When you
tell
have the
yourself,
spirit
don't
of
worry,
God,
I will
I
pass
don't
this
think.
stage.
I
I will
don't
get
think.
this thing.
I don't think. To suppress it, you need supernatural.
Okay, so what do you think we need?
I don't think you need supernatural. You need a certain level of understanding. A certain level. Let's say, what does somebody that is not contented? What does he do? How does he react? Do you understand? When you see that action, that if I'm not contented, it affects a lot of things. It destroys relationship. It brings greed. It brings down. It brings jealousy. It brings down your spiritual state of humanness. So when that thing is coming, you have to do what? Know how to what? Manage it. You know, it's
And
it's
how can you
it's very
manage
practical.
it?
Like for example, now you say you are angry. If you are angry, you say a lot of abusive words. You understand? So you now understand that if that anger comes, I'll just do what? Shut up.
Keep quiet.
Or I'll just what? Well, it's practical. I'll just walk away. So we need techniques, mentorship to know how to what? Understand all these behavior. You understand? You don't really need spiritual. It's a practical.
All right, can we get your opinion?
Mama the mama. Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we have totally dealt from the question, which was contentment and life.
Yes, now.
And now we are looking at on contentment, people that are greedy.
If you're not
Is being
contented with
greedy on
something that will lead
contentment.
to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we have totally dealt from the question, which was contentment and life.
Yes, now.
And now we are looking at on contentment, people that are greedy.
If you're not
Is
contented
being
with
greedy on
something that will lead
contentment.
to you being greedy, right?
Yes,
If
it
I
will
get
lead to
We
that.
are not
Yeah.
contented with life because naturally life is what? Challenge. Life is sorrow. Life is pain.
Okay,
Life
so
is
you're
joy.
saying there's nothing like contentment.
Yes.
That is the point I'm trying to make, because this question
No,
you gave
now.
us is there contentment or there's no
No
contentment
contentment,
in life?
that's
And
it.
here I've said there is
It's
contentment
contentment.
because it is a feeling. It is a feeling of satisfaction, something that gives you joy, that you have derived joy from. It doesn't matter what happens after that point to me. That particular moment you have that feeling is contentment. I don't care to know, oh, if you now see your neighbor's car, you want to have that car. But that time that you bought your Corolla, did you get any satisfaction from it?
You are saying there's contentment, right?
Yes,
But
there is contentment.
actually, realistically, is that the truth?
It is the truth.
It's not the truth.
It is the truth.
Because still, you are not satisfied. There's still a gap. If there's a gap, it means that that person is what? Not satisfied. You understand?
Like I said earlier,
you can't get to
I
the
think
end
we are
point.
mixing up these terms.
We're not mixing.
We are mixing it up because normally humans, we are
Okay.
insatiable and we always, our wants will everly increase.
We're not saying that human.
Okay, so let's look at the
you're
meaning
not
of
saying-
contentment.
you're not
So
saying
we don't like
human are insatiable.
Please look at
contentment is a state of satisfaction and peace with
Yes.
what you have and who you are. It is about accepting your current circumstances and finding joy in the present moment rather than wanting more.
So
Did you see that part? He said in the present moment. That is what.
That's the question. No?
Okay.
Is there anybody? Complete that definition. Is there anybody
Rather than
that can get to that
always
state?
wanting more.
Actually, realistically,
That
is
will
there
not want more,
anybody?
that will not want
That we you're putting question now.
Did you listen to what you read just now? He said at that
when you
moment.
ask current-
There's a particular
current
moment you get
circumstance
that
and
feeling,
finding joy
that circumstance. So different
rather
things
than
give people.
always
Yes,
wanting more.
there are people that at a current state they find themselves, they feel a certain satisfaction. That is what is contentment. That does not stop the person from wanting more later, wanting to achieve another level of satisfaction.
Are we doing? You are driving pleasure. That's the question. No?
Okay.
Is there anybody? Complete that definition. Is there anybody
Rather than
that can get to that
always
state?
wanting more.
Actually, realistically,
That
is
will
there
not want more,
anybody?
that will not want
That we you're putting question now.
Did you listen to what you read just now? He said at that
when you
moment,
ask current-
there's a particular
current
moment you get
circumstance
that
and
feeling,
finding joy
that circumstance. So different
rather
things
than
give people.
always
Yes,
wanting more.
there are people that at a current state they find themselves, they feel a certain satisfaction. That is what is contentment. That does not stop the person from wanting more later, wanting to achieve another level of satisfaction.
Are we doing? You are driving pleasure from something, from an event. It blocks what? For example, I can be in trouble. But there's this event you're going to, you forget the trouble. Trouble is there.
Okay.
You forget the trouble. Maybe you are talking to somebody. Then there's this pleasure you get. Does it mean there's no gap to feel? Because that pleasure is blocking the rest. Do you understand? So I don't think I've never experienced this. That
Okay, you have never experienced
yes, that somebody will be contented in his state. You still want more. Is it something that is lacking? Do you understand?
Okay.
Is it something that is lacking?
Definitely something will be lacking, but what we're trying to say is you are contented with what you have at that current stage.
So we are asking, is there any human being alive that is contented with his current state? That's the question. Me, I'm not.
So are you trying to say the
I think
billionaires?
that's why I said
the-
naturally it is
Me, I'm
difficult
not.
to
I'm seeing
attain
it.
contentment.
Okay, so we should
Because
discard contentment. We should not involve
Because you cannot get
contentment with
everything.
life.
That's the truth.
Is that what you are trying to
no,
say?
of
There
course
must
you
be
will.
contentment
There will
with
be
life.
contentment
But he's saying
until
that there is nobody
That
that
is
has
his view, but that
achieved
is not my
contentment.
correct.
It's not my view.
Are you
not
getting
true.
it?
I'm telling you what I'm
He
experiencing.
says
in
that
my
there's
own
no
opinion,
person that
contentment
achieved
is
contentment.
something that is beyond the
Are there not
natural.
sometimes, our able moderator, Miss Ebo,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes you achieve some certain things, or you do something. Maybe you go to work and that day was a very good day for you, and then when you get home, you feel accomplished. You feel that, oh, you really hit the bull's eye today.
Yeah.
That is the feeling of contentment.